Yeah, here it is, Friday again. Another week's gone by. It's actually warmed up quite a bit. It's above freezing. It's even raining today. So, winter is pretty near over. It's raining out there. You can see it on the puddles. And there's puddles everywhere. So we did have some pretty good progress. Got the gas tank back up into place. Not completely installed yet. Fixed up some of the lines that go to it. I got the rear end, most of the rear end is done. This side here is not complete, but the other side is all set to go, caliper on it and everything. Then I found another hole that had to be fixed before I put the gas tank back in. Show you that. So stick around, I'll show you everything that happened this week. Did a bunch of work on the interior too. Yeah, so it's, well, starting up another week. This will be episode number 17, I think, coming on. And I'm starting to work on putting the console back together. We've got it upside down here. Put a couple of bolts in here, but all these electrical connectors that are old, like this is since the car was brand new, so it's 1985 to now. What's that, 25 years or something like that? More than 25 years. 35 years maybe. Anyhow, quite a long time. And maybe even 36 years. So this thing here, all these connectors get really, they just get corroded over time, or they don't, you know, you don't really notice it so much. So the magic cure for cleaning them off is that stuff there, CLR. So I just take a little dish of it and dip my Q-tip in it, and then I clean the connectors. And go through the whole thing, like over here, every one of these connectors. It's tedious, but every one of these connectors gets a cleaning with CLR. And then, same thing, like it really works well for, you know, when you have your trailer that won't hook up. Well, you hook up your trailer to the car and then the lights don't work. It's most often just a connector problem. And this stuff here is a secret weapon for that too. It'll make it so that the trailer lights work. Voila. Now I've taken and I've checked all these switches just with like an ohm meter or a, what do you call this? Multimeter, right? So I just checked them to make sure that they get, that noise means it's a full connection. Make sure that they get turned on and turned off. And they seem to work, so I'm happy with the switches. We'll just take it on from there. Yeah, here's one of those things that I have to replace. That's the, oh, can you see that up there? Yeah, I think so. Cable to be the gear selector for the transmission. So it has to come down and bend in such a way that it gets into that hole right here without breaking the cable, because the cable is a solid cable and fairly not especially bendable. I'll just see what I can do about getting it around there. There, it's in the right spot now, and now it's a matter of getting it adjusted properly. So this thing here has got to go through this. There's a hole on the other side of that bolt there that it comes through, and then to get it to I'll put it to park, and then adjust this to be the right place, I hope. There, now that should be all the way back to, like, as far back as the gear first will pull. So right now I've got the gear first up around the park position, but I'll pull it back all the way, and then I'll tighten this on, push it this way, and see if that goes to park all right. See what happens. Yeah, there, that's pulled all the way to park, or no, it's pulled all the way back to low gear, like first gear, on the thing up above. So now if I tighten this here, then if I put it in park up there, it should push all the way to park. And that should be adjusted just about right. We'll just adjust it there for starters, and then when I get the motor going, we'll get it to the right spot. There it is, all back into place. Now there's a rubber gasket thing goes on here. It looks like, there's the old one there. Looks like that. Likely it's easier to put that in before you get the cable all into place than it is afterwards. Just put the cable through and then put the rubber thing in, but that seems to work. It pulls the gears back and forth. We'll see what happens when it gets to when I get it hooked up with electricity. This part here has the sensor in it that goes and tells you where you are on the pernundle up here. And then there's put a handle on here, and there's a little plastic thing goes down to lock it into gears. These are lockers. Where am I pointing? So it locks into park here, then it locks into reverse. Neutrals here, first drive, and then so on and so forth. I guess there's drive, there's neutral, there's reverse, and there's park. So there's no locker in between. Sorry, there's no locker in between reverse and drive. So you can rock the car if you need to. Anyway, that part's done. Now, see what's next here. Yeah, so you don't need the electricity on to get the window to go up. You pull that little thing out there, and you put the Allen key in. That'll fit in there. Turn this thing around until it doesn't engage this nut on there anymore. So it stops turning. Then you can put this on here and turn the window up or down. Isn't that something, eh? Way the window goes up. That's up. And then you just loosen this thing back out again, or turn it back out to the spot where you want it to lock in place, which is right there. And then you're done. Oops. And you're done. Now, I don't know if I'll have to put the window back down to that spot where it was before I try using the electrics on it, but for now, the window's up and I can close the doors and seal the car on the inside here so it doesn't get full of dust. Yeah, I was wondering how to repair all this stuff here, this black stuff, and don't you know, Gorilla Tape makes this stuff a 4-inch roll, and it's made for just this sort of thing where you got to repair old junk. Anyhow, seems to work, seems to hold it really tight. So I'll make a couple more repairs on the other side, and that'll be good. There it is there, Gorilla waterproof patch and seal tape. And it has, like, you have to cut off a piece the right size and peel the backing off it, and then you just put this on and it'll fix it. Yeah, so there's a before shot. Like the all that stuff is kind of cracked and old and everything like that. So now I'll take some of this tape, and this is the back side of it. There's a plastic on there, and then this side here is the outside of it. So first I'll cover that little hole up right there, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Yeah, so there, so far so good. Get these wires out of the way. Excuse me. You can see down, where's my finger? There. You can see down here, that's where the split, the last line is there of it. And it seems to be I put it on and then I put the heat gun to it to warm it up, and then it seems to hold on to just about anything. So that'll by the time I get down to the bottom here, I put some stuff on here to clean it. So I'm gonna wait until tomorrow and let that dry, because that's just foam rubber there, and see if it'll stick to that foam rubber around here and stuff. So anyhow, that's good. There's the answer to the question. How do you fix that stuff? Gorilla tape. Well, what do you know? Yeah, there we go. So there you are. That's the Gorilla tape everywhere. And I did some over here too to shore up this side of it here so it doesn't crack anymore. And then that's the original flooring. Funny that this side here has got fabric, like wool stuff, and that side there has got rubber mats. Don't know why. I guess I won't guess. So now I'm just going to vacuum this out again, and then I think I'll put the carpets in so that it'll all hold together. Yeah, there we go. It's starting to look more like a car again. I put the carpets back in it. Have to put these, I might have to remanufacture these wheel things. I can get a strip of aluminum somewhere and sort of try and make those things so they look decent, because the ones that were in it are kind of corroded out. But we'll just think about it for a bit. Yeah, so I did take the carpets out and took them in the house and did a shampoo on them inside the house with my upholstery cleaner thing. So maybe the next thing happening here, I'll go put the back seats back into it, and that'll get them out of, I got to clean them up a bit first, and then there they are sitting out here. So if I clean them off and then get them back in here, they'll be out of harm's way. And I'll hook up the oh, what do you call this thing? Seat belt. It wouldn't hold very much right now the way it is, but it will after a while. Yeah, so there's the driver's side one. Just do a bit of cleanup on that and it'll be fine. But the passenger side one, not so good. I'll show you that. It's over here. It's got a gaping hole right there. So I'll have to figure out a way to fix it from here to here. We'll do some ciphering on that. Yeah, did I show you this already? There's the gas pedal in there. Works. Isn't that something, eh? There you go. Now this side here, I cleaned off all the corrosion on the back side of it. And then this one here is not bad. It's got a little bit of a thing here and a little bit of a thing here. But otherwise it's in reasonably good shape. The other one isn't so great. But don't you know, I dug around in my pile of junk and I found this piece of aluminum here, which is a railing from the deck. So I have to replace this bit back here. So, and just so happens that the curvature on the railing from the deck seems to be about the same as the curve of that crown that I need right there. So I'll cut a piece of this right here and make it fit over from about here to the end, or maybe about here to the end. We'll just see. Yeah, there you go. So this piece of aluminum will sit on top of that and just hold that all down together. It's just the same size. And it's got that crown on it that it needs. So that'll work. Won't be a perfect fix, but it'll be a fix. This piece here, I've looked around for them on the internet and I can't seem to find any, so gotta have what you have. Yeah, there. How do you like that, eh? That you wouldn't even know unless you knew. And once the seats are in, you won't be able to see that at all. It'll just be invisible to your, it'll look like it's supposed to be there. Cool. There you go. There's side number 2. Done. And the carpet's nice and clean. There's a little bit of rust stains around these things here, but yeah, for the most part it's pretty good. Looks not bad. Now, I guess seatbelt thing is next, and then likely the put the back seats in. There's the console there. I'm gonna not put it in for a while yet. I've got I ordered a radio for the car. The radio that was in it was not the original radio, and it didn't work anyhow. So I ordered one that it's like a retro looking radio, and it will do Bluetooth and stuff like that. So see what happens when it gets here. It should be here in a few days. Yeah, so there the seat belt's in, but and it's got this little spring-loaded thing down here. You got to get in the, well, where am I? Right in there. You got to get that in the spring-loaded hole, and then bolt it in, tighten it in. But then you should check and make sure you don't have a twist in the fabric before you stick it in. So I guess I got to take it apart and do it again. Nothing like practice. Yeah, so there now. Practice makes perfect. It's got that little springy thing that takes it back and makes it sort of sit flat on the seat here. Now I think that's the right way to be. Anyhow, it won't go back in, but we'll see what happens with that. A little bit of practice on it. Yeah, so the FedEx came today and sent along the proper bolts for holding those wheels in place like that. Now I have to do, I've got it in that back one, but the other back one there, it's broken off inside there. So I'll have to drill it out and find a spot for try and put a new one in. Anyhow, that's a little bit of a project now. There we go, just about done. That went through. Now, to get that extracted out of there somehow. There now, I was able to get that out. So there's a screw. It goes in there now. Seems to fit all right. So I drilled it out to a big enough size that I could put this tap through, which is 2 sizes smaller than the nut there. And that tap caught all the old threads and pushed them through. So maybe I was lucky. I think it's better, more luck than management there. Anyhow, it's done and it's good. Yeah, there you go. So I put the back seats back into it. It's starting to look like a car again. It's got carpets. Got back seats. There's no front seats yet, but they'll get there. There's the console there. I'm going to wait for a while. I think I said already that I've ordered up a radio for it. So, what's next? I don't know. I'll do something. Yeah, so I guess the next thing to go in is the fuel pump. See if I can figure that out. Okay, here's all the bits. There's the new pump. There's the old pump. I imagine the old pump's still good, but might as well put the new one in. Then it's got this bracket here that I fixed up a bit. All sorts of brackets. And a fuel filter in here maybe. Yeah, new fuel filter. Made in South Africa. Oops, there you go. New fuel filter. Made in South Africa of all the places in the world. Anyhow, I'll see if I can get them all put together and then we'll see what we have done. Oh yeah, and these things here, these are the mounting things for the fuel pump. There we go. I think I have everything. Yeah, so that rubber thing, you just give it a couple of taps and it comes off of there. You'll have to go on to the new one. Yeah, so here we are. Got that wired in there and all set up to go. Then I ordered up these things here. They're called pillar bolts. Anyhow, the bolt will sit on like here. There. Bolt sits on like that, and then the unit sits on top of that, and that creates a cushion for it so it doesn't vibrate and make noise in the car, I guess. Same thing at this end, it'll be like that, and then the unit will sit up in there, so it goes on about there somewhere. Anyhow, they're called pillar bolts, but they didn't come with pillar nuts. So I have to go find some metric nuts to fit on that, locking ones. Anyway, yeah, there you go. Everything's up in place. So this line here comes from the fuel tank to the back of the pump. This line goes from the output of the pump. Wires are on here. Output of the pump to the input on the fuel filter. Output of the fuel filter to the intake line on the, goes up to the motor. This line here is the vapor line that comes back from the no, that's the return. Yeah, that's the return fuel line there. Whoops, where am I? Yeah, return fuel line, and it goes into the tank, which is going to be up in there. This line here is the vapor line that comes and goes into this up in there. There's some more hoses to be replaced up there, but that's all together. I think the next thing I have to do is put on this, well, I put the emergency brake cable in, and then I'll put the trailing arm on this side. There, that wasn't too tough. Just a bunch of lifting and heaving and getting those bolts lined up right in the bushings. Then before you tighten these things here, you have to sort of bring the trailing arm to halfway, like so it's at its sort of normal ride height. When I let it down on the ground vader, I'll loosen that bolt, and I'll loosen that bolt over here, let it sit at normal ride height, and then tighten them up again, and that'll get those bushings set so they're not straining all the time. So I had to do the same on the front end. I don't know if you remember from way back then, this bushing here, this one here, I had to tighten it up when the with ride height on it, with the normal ride height on it, and that way it sets right. Anyway, it doesn't put strain on the bushing. Doesn't put any strain on the bushings. So next is I'll hook up stuff here, like the what do you call that thing? I think it's got a tag on it. It's the emergency brake cable. I'll hook that across. I'll put the brake lines in place, and then see about putting the axle in. Interesting. There, that's installed. Now, the hardest part of that shock absorber business is tightening up those bolts way in there on the top of the thing. So you got to crawl in the trunk and then turn 18 ways, and then you maybe got a chance to get it done. So I'll give it a try. Yeah, sometimes it's impossible to get this thing to record. Anyhow, had one of these wrenches that has the ratchet end on it, and it fits in there, and I was able to get them done without too much trouble. I was surprised because it was an awful lot harder to get them out of there. Anyway, that would be one side done. The other side I'll wait for a while because I've got to do stuff. There you go, everything's in. There's the new emergency cable right there, emergency brake cable. Those things, I put them up to about the right height and tighten them down. This is on, this is tight. Brake lines are hooked up. Caliper's not on yet. The caliper, this part here, that's missing part, has got to go in before the caliper goes on, or else I'll just take the caliper off later and do it. But I'll wait for a while before, there's no rush to do that. Now, next thing is to get this axle on. And then I think I'll put the gas tank and stuff into it. See what happens. Yeah, so there's what the emergency brake thing looks like. So you pull on this. This is the cable. You pull on this, and then it spreads it out like that. Just sort of remember how that goes together. So I have to clean that all up and start putting it together again. Yeah, there the power went out, so can't do much without power in here. I'll come back in a little while. Yeah, there we go. Power's back on, and I haven't taken any photos for a while, but I was cleaning up the brake stuff, and I put the emergency brake cable in, and I put the emergency brake apparatus inside there. So next thing I'll just put the caliper on. Although this speed sensor here, I'll have to take the caliper off later to get that speed sensor in, but that'll get the brake lines in, and that'll all be sealed so there's no dirt gets into them anymore. Yeah, there we go. That's all put together in there, and brake calipers on. I will have to remove it later and just put that what do you call it, that speed sensor in, but that's okay. Everything spins. Looks like it's okay. Now I gotta, next is to put the axle in. I don't think there's anything else. Yeah, so there's a new axle that I've got gloves over the end of it to keep the dust out. So up here, it's all held together with tie wrap and stuff. So I have to pack this with grease and then put the covers on it. And got a set of covers and a gasket thing. Whoops. A gasket thing. Set of covers. And then it all goes back into the unit. We'll just see how that works out. And there's grease here that gets packed into it. Oh well, now get at her. Yeah, that grease gets everywhere. So I figured it out that you do some on the top here, and then I push this down, and then put some in the bottom. That makes it work pretty good. Anyway, I'll grease this one up, and then we'll show you what it looks like. There you go, that's greased up enough. Now I'll just put this gasket on there. Thank God for rubber gloves, or else I'd be completely black. So I'll get the rubber gloves back on and put the gasket on and put that cap on it. There, that's all. Two ends set to go. Now they have these little locker devices on them that go on. 3 per side. So these things go on, and then bolts go through. So I'll see what I can do about showing you what it's like back here. I'll get it up in place and get 1 or 2 screws in it, and then I'll give you an example of what's going on. It goes one end here and the other end right there. So we'll see how it works out here. There, I got one started here, and I've got one started up here. Now it's just a matter of putting all the bolts in and tightening them down, and keeping the grease off of my phone or my camera. That'll be difficult. It's got big greasy spots all over the screen now. Yeah, there they all are, torqued on, just by, not torqued up yet, but just on by hand, and the what do you call it, just an Allen key. So I'll get a torque wrench and I'll tighten them all down. You go that one, then that one, 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 then the same over here, so that it gets even all the way around. And I think they get up around, oh, I don't know, it's maybe 70 pounds. I think 70 is the right answer for that. Anyway, get them torqued on and that'll be good. Yeah, so they're all torqued on there next. torqued on there now. That was a workout getting that done. So next on the list is, I think it's the gas tank. Interesting. We'll see what happens here now. Yeah, so next on the list is getting those, there's 3 hoses up here. I'll open up, put some light in there. So you can see those 3 hoses there. They go back to the vapor system, and they need to be replaced because they're just old and rotten. The parts, likely the first foot of it's the bad bit, and then I'll put a joiner in and just won't change the whole hose, just part of the hose that's bad. Yeah, now that the one trailing arm is on, I might as well get the other one stuck on there. And that way it's all done. The only thing I'm missing here is missing the brake cable, which I can slide up through there later, and maybe it'll arrive before I finish up all this, because there's a couple hours of work, or couple of days the way I go at it. Yeah, there you go. Trailing arm number 2 is up in place. Not too tough putting them in place. Now this bit here is what sort of lines it up the back end, because that side is solid on the frame here, and this side is connected to the trailing arm here. And then that, you can see that thing moves a bit with the suspension, and it makes a radial thing on there, so keeps this wheel in line, or here I am pointing everywhere else, keeps this wheel from moving like this way, and then everything else is able to move up and down. That's kind of a interesting way to do stuff, and it seems to be effective. So here's spring number 2 getting ready to go in there. The long end goes toward the outside of the car, that long end there, so the bolt goes in that side here, not to be confused. So I've got this, what do you call it, it's marine silicone. I'll just put a dab of it along the top of this thing here, that gives it a good seal. There now, set to go. I'll just go and see if I can get it up into place a little bit. See what it looks like in here. I won't be able to film this because the damn thing's heavy, but I'll just slide it up into there. Then I'll check back with you. There it is in place. Now I've just got it resting in here. Now I have to go up on the top, put a couple of bolts in it, and then, or a couple of nuts on the top of it. Then I'll come down here and adjust this thing and get it mounted in this side. Yeah, back in the trunk. Now you can see where the bolts come through. Maybe you can see that way over there. You can see where the bolts come up, and I've got to get in there and tighten them down. Easier on this side than it was on the other side. Anyhow, I'll climb in and do it. There we go, got that bolted in the top there, and I put a tie wrap down here just to hold it from falling out. Now I just have to twist this a little bit and put that into there, and that'll be that shock absorber done, or spring set, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, there it is. Mounted strut. Get the light out here. Goes way up high, and that all went all okay. So everything is hooked up here. That trailing arm, now I just have to put the brake assembly on and put the axle in, and then I've got a roller, I guess. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we're recording now. There you go. That's enough for today. Likely tomorrow I'll get that other side put in, and then the gas tank can go on. Then I got to figure out a hanger. That's That hanger was put in there by some muffler shop, I think. But I got to figure out a hanger for the muffler to go on to. I'll take a look at that tomorrow. Yeah, so the new radio showed up for the car. It's interesting. The only thing I really recognize is that part. I guess it'll go together somehow or other. We'll see. I'll show you later. Yeah, it's made to look like an old-time radio from back in the 80s, the way they looked. But it does Bluetooth, and it does, you know, you can talk to your phone on it and stuff like that. So, it's a modern radio in an old look. We'll see how it works if I ever get it installed. That's going to take, there's a book that comes with it that's got 5 chapters, or more. Yeah, if all else fails, they send you a nice keychain to go along with it. Retromanufacturing.com. Retro sound. We'll see how it works out. Yeah, so back to the task at hand. I guess I'll put the trailing arm is in. Those are all tightened up. I didn't torque them down yet. But same as this side is on the others. When I get the car back on the ground, so it's got wheels on it and a normal ride height, I'll put it up on those little things there to keep it off the ground so I can get a wheelie underneath here. Then I'll loosen these bolts in here, and the same as that one way over right there, and that will be, then I torque them down and that tightens them up so that the bushing's sitting in the right location at normal ride height, which will be different than it used to be because the springs were all broken before. Anyway, and this part here's on. That's kind of a interesting thing. It's just a pressure fit on there, but it's got down here you put a bolt. There's a bolt in there holding it. So that's, I think that is a little bit of a torsion bar or control arm. Not much to it except that it's on rubber bushings here. But I guess it keeps the trailing arm from flopping back and forth like that. This thing here keeps the trailing arm from coming back and forth like this. So anyway, there we have it. I'll get the brakes on here and then put the axle on, and then I'll put the gas tank in, and that might be getting close to being done at this end of the car. Yeah, so a bit of a roadblock. I haven't got the emergency cable for this side yet. It's still in Canada Post somewhere. I think it's on the island, but it may not get here until next week sometime. We'll wait and see. Maybe it'll show up today. You never know. Sometimes it surprises you. So I can't really put the brake system in place yet. So I'll put the axle in place, and that'll be that task out of the way. Then I can put the gas tank on. Yeah, this one's not even out of the box yet. Well, we'll see what happens. Now these things here, I didn't show you on the other side, but they're all yucky and dirty. But it's another great thing about having this tool here, because you just clean them off on there and they come out nice and shiny. I'll do that before I install everything. Anyway, there we are. Yeah, there you have it. Got a bunch of shiny things. Just put them in there, and it takes the scale off them. Yeah, there you go. Side one's done. Now I'll work on number 2 here. It's not too tough to do. You just pull this down. There's a bunch of, they've put some grease in there from the factory to start with. So just pull that down and then put a bit of grease on that side, push it up, and then put the rest of it on this side, push it down. Anyway, I'll get at it. Yeah, there we go. That's all in now. Now I just have to torque all these down. The other side I torqued them all down to around 50 pounds, which seemed to be about the right amount. Yeah, so there's another great use for a pipe wrench. Nice long handle that's easy to hang on to, and torquing up these things. So I torqued them all to about the 50 mark on that thing. Anyhow, that's just about like a workout. Yeah, do you remember way back when we were doing the gas tank repairs? So anyhow, I had to take it apart about 3 times and redo this seam. So I was looking at it here today, and I was thinking that if I cleaned that all off along the seam, and then silvered it all on this side, and silvered it all on the back side, that might be just to double check or make sure that it's not going to leak any gas. So I think I'll do that. So I have to clean this off from here to here along that seam, and then on the back side the same thing, and then I'll just solder it with put on soldering paste and solder it up, and it'll seal up anything. If there's a pinhole in there, it'll get it. Yeah, there we go. I did wet paint. So I did it all on both sides, this side and the other side. And we'll stick it on and just see how things work out. Yeah, so it's time to fix these hoses in here. There's new hose going through there. And it's just the end bits of these that seems to be bad. So I'm pulling them back about 8 inches into here. Then I'm going to put a joint like this thing here, a little plastic joint in there. You can go and get 10,000 pieces for $1.79 or whatever they are. I think they're $15 for about 10,000 pieces of those. Yeah, there we go. That was pretty simple. Another one that I was worried about, but it all works out easy. It goes and they all hook onto in here, so it's like up in there, and there's a big vacuum box up there, and then that last one comes from the front of the car. Underneath there is from the motor. Anyway, vacuum system. Yeah, so I was just about ready to put the tank in, and here I discover there's a fiberglass patch here. So I guess I'll investigate that. I can see on the other side, right here. So there must have been a bit of a hole there. I'll bring it down and investigate that. Likely I'll have to put some metal in there. Yeah, so there's a piece of fiberglass that came out of it. Right there. Now, big piece of fiberglass for a little tiny hole, and the hole was even smaller back then. There it is there. That. Wait a second, I'll get it out here. You can see it. Hang on. Too many things in my hands, right? That's the back side of it. There you go. That's the front side of it. Anyhow, didn't even notice it there until I went to put the tank in. Didn't even notice it there until I went to put the tank in, and then now it's got a little bit of a complex here because what the hell goes on there now? Yeah, too many things in my hands all the time. Anyway, it's got there's a bit on the back side here that has a lip on it that hooks onto the body and then comes down and hooks onto this bit here, which is the gas nozzle goes up in behind there, and that's how that all hooks together. So a little bit of a strength piece there. I'll put a little lip piece in there, and then I'll put a new piece on the outside here. Oh well, I'll show you later. There's little lipped pieces in there now. I have it just fastened in up here. There, you can see that, eh? Anyway, so it only goes over to here. It stops, and then it hooks onto this bracketing for the gas spout. So I'll weld it here, and I'll weld it here, and then the fender was spot welded to this piece here, but I think I'll just put a couple of little welds down below it there. That'll be just fine, because it's got some little bit of a curve right there, so I have to sort of bend that up after I get it welded here. Yeah, so there's the back piece welded on now. I'll show you from the other side. And then they can see the dimples where it was spot welded along there. But I'll just put a piece of metal on, butt weld it in, and give it a couple of spots on the back side of that, or tack welds on the back side of that. And then that'll be back to what it was like when it came out of the factory, pretty close. Yeah, the fiberglass was put in there. Where is it? Right down here. It was put in there about 2005, I think. So like it's 15 years, but I think you have to cut away, if you're using fiberglass, you got to cut away all the rusty bits. And lots of people don't do that. They just cover it over with the fiberglass and body fill. And I guess that's not quite enough. Yeah, so when I stuck it in, I found out that it's not a flat piece. It's got a little bit of a crown to it, so that it's. So I went over and I did. Where am I? Went over this thing here. I call this a dolly. You put that on there like that, and whoop, losing the camera. Only got so many hands here. So you put it on the dolly and hold it, and then you tap on the side here where you want it to bend to. So it's just got a small crown to it like this, a little tiny bend to it, but that makes it sort of fit nicer. So that's how I did that. Yeah, so when you're putting in pieces like this one, which is on a big flat body panel, and you want to be careful and slow, because if you're slow it'll won't warp. So let it get down to the temperature where you can sort of touch it with your hand, and then do some more welding on it. So that's going about now. I'll just do a couple of spots. I'll show you. Something's going on here. Hang on. Here, well, take two on that. Somehow the helmet was too sensitive to the light. I don't know what's going on. The light here is sensitive to. Anyway, but I put one here and here, here and here and here and here, as you can see. So now I'll put one here, 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 and here, and I'll give it a little while again. There, now I'll just let it set for a bit, and when it cools off I'll give it some more. Still pretty hot now, so I'll let it cool off for a few more minutes and then I'll give at her. I'll show you when I get it done. There you go, it looks pretty good from this side. You know, it's not a bad, doesn't look like it's, you know, looks like it's pretty good. Put the light on the other side. Uh-oh. There's a few holes there still. So you just go around. I ground it off a bit. Now I'm going to go around and fill those holes. There you go. Can't see any more light coming through, so I must have them filled in. I'll grind it off again, and then I'll likely see a couple more holes and fill them in, and so on. But for the most part, it's all right. Same thing with the grinding. When you're grinding on it, don't let it get too hot either, because that'll warp it all. There you go. That's not a bad piece of work there. No warping. Looks pretty good. Looks like it's going to be more than adequate for what I want. If there's a big piece of plastic goes over here anyhow, and it's spend all that time to cover up something that's going to be covered up anyway, but might as well be right. So all these tricks, I didn't get them my own self. They come from a guy called Fitzy's Fabrication on the YouTubes. Well, there, it took some fighting, but the gas tank's back up into its spot, and it even fits pretty good after all my adjustments to it, or after all my like I built this piece here, and it seems to fit right. I have to bend those tabs up a bit so they touch on there, and the front end seems to snuggle right up. It used to have, they would join up right there, but I didn't know that at the time. So now it's just it's a friction fit, but there's a bolt that holds it right here. So I might put another bolt right there maybe, just to hold it tight. And then that's pretty good. Huh. So I got to take it down. I haven't tightened it up into position yet. I got to take the car down and take a look in the trunk and see how those fuel lines fit on there. Yeah, there it is. The fuel lines come up in underneath there. Looks like there's room left over for it to, they aren't pinching. And the same with this. Yeah, I'll take two on that one. So the fuel lines come up without pinching, it seems. They've still got to be tightened up a little bit in there. And this electric wires seem to be coming through without pinching too bad. So I'll just see where the routing is from the electric wires. I may change the electric wires around to come in the same spot as the fuel lines come in. They're supposed to come in right beside the body there, body panels. Then I'll get that everything into place, and then I'll put the fuel line stuff in up here. But you know what? It's Friday already.